Most of what we're going to talk about this morning, though, in the report is the status of the global evolution. And I guess, first of all, I'd like to say is that a lot of people, when they hear global evolution, hear different things. So I'm going to give you some subtitles to make sure that we're all on the same page. The whole approach to this global evolution is acknowledging the fact that we already are global. We already have significant membership both in Europe and in Asia. But also, as we've grown from a very modest, centrally controlled organization to a very diverse, very broad, very large organization. In fact, we're over 38,000 members now. And yet, in the process of getting to where we are, and in terms of our growth, we've not changed our governance structure. And so what we're trying to do is to adjust the governance structure to reflect what we now have, which, by the way, includes many large, robust district councils and national councils, and to make sure that as we focus on how we deliver value to our members, that we are really primarily focused every day on improving and increasing opportunities for membership engagement, membership leadership, and membership impact. Through this initiative, what we're trying to do is to connect all the networks. As you know, ULI has many, many networks of people. In addition to the district councils and the product councils, we also obviously have a whole bunch of special initiatives in terms of leadership, in terms of the Rowe Center, in terms of all the center activities. And the hope is that by connecting all of this, it'll make everybody's experience that much richer. So continue to think about the word empowerment, because that's obviously a key word, but also I will point out that our goal is to make sure that each member can shape their own experience, and that ULI is shaped by the members as we go forward. So let's give a little bit of history. This is not a new thing. And if you think about what we have today, it was not a surprise that we were growing quickly. And in fact, going back to Bob Larson and going back to Harry Frampton and Marilyn Taylor, there was a lot of effort put into thinking through what would we need to do in terms of our structure to reflect what we were now dealing with in terms of a much more diverse organization. And there was a strong commitment that while we want to be global, we still need to be locally driven in terms of being vibrant and impactful, because most of our impact is at the local level. So after the initial thought process, there was the beginning of an implementation by Jeremy Newsom when he was chair. But unfortunately, we ran into the Great Recession. And during the Great Recession, things were put on hold. And as a result, not much progress was made from that point forward. But now that we're going to move forward, we're focusing initially on the whole issue of the volunteer governance and staff structure. Simplistically, if you look at the chart up on the screen, it all starts with the members. It shows you how quickly we're growing. It says 37,000 plus. I'm told we're now over 38, and we'll probably hit 39,000 by the end of June. But the building blocks, as you can see, are where do people engage? It's the district councils, the national councils, the product councils. And then there to support all of this, the new structure provides for regional leadership so that Europe, we call it EMEA, Asia, and the Americas can each have leadership driving the program and the agenda for each of their membership groups. Finally, there's a layer of global leadership represented primarily by a global chair, a global board of directors, and also global trustees. Important to note, the trustees now are elected globally, but they're really picked locally. It's the regions now that will put forth their slates for trustees, and we've been able to increase the number of slots available for membership. And then each trustee gets to choose what region or regions they want to be involved in depending on their business interests and their activities. So if somebody's truly global and wants to be involved in all three regions, they can be. And if somebody is only interested in one region, they can maintain focus on that. Let's move to the staff structure now in terms of where we're at. Formally, Patrick Phillips, our CEO, actually had three jobs. The box that you see him in, he was also de facto acting as the Americas Chief Executive, and he was also de facto acting as the President and CEO of ULIF. You will note that in addition to those three jobs, he used to have 14 direct reports. So under the new structure, in terms of forcing as much activity down to the local level as possible, we're minimizing the number of direct reports and the number of people at the global level. And as a result of that, Patrick can focus on being the CEO of ULI globally, which is the job he was originally hired for. We are in the process of recruiting a strong America's chief executive, and we're very excited by the candidates we've had apply for that opportunity. And most recently, Kathleen Carey stepped in as the president and chief executive officer of the foundation. And with her background and content, it'll be a very strong fit for her. So the key is to have 7 strong leaders. The newest addition within the reporting group would be Adam Smoller. If you haven't met Adam, Adam joined us Monday, comes with a phenomenally strong background in marketing, communications, IT, and membership services. All those functions now will report to him, and we look forward to the contributions we know Adam will make as part of that. In terms of the next category that I'd like to address, it's the issue of members. And going back to the original slide in terms of everything starts with the members, the goal with what we've been doing here is to make sure that members much more easily can access the resources of ULI, can much more easily connect to other members, much more easily connect to leadership opportunities. And so whether it's leadership, content, or even impact by being part of advisory panels or other activities that have huge impact at the local level, we want to make it much easier for members to engage with ULI because it's become a very large organization, and it's particularly hard for new members to figure out how to do that. So the final thing I would say about this is that if we are successful, because people always say, so what will measure success? If we are successful, we will be in a position where members will view ULI as the essential relationship in their professional lives, as something that they really can't live without, that it's something that's essential in each step of their evolution as individuals in their careers, that it provides something new and different for them. One of the things that will be coming down the road here is a stronger focus on leadership, and as part of that, looking at the fact that what people want from leadership is different at every stage of their career, and hopefully ULI will be a leader in that. So some people have asked, so what's the model for why we're doing what we're doing? And ironically, it's really the district councils. If you think about the success of the district councils, it's been based upon allowing local groups of people to pursue ULI's mission and to focus on the things that they care about. And the person who's been most involved in getting us there on the district council side is Trish Healy, who was involved in leading a task force on making sure the promise of the district councils were being achieved a number of years ago. And so there's nobody better that could have been asked to be the first chair of the Americas. And fortunately for all of us, Trish said yes. And it's my pleasure now to welcome Trish to the podium.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you, Philadelphia, Maryland, Bill, Jerry, Antonio, Jack. Let me also add my thanks to Randy's for hosting what is a phenomenal conference. In the short time that I have with you today, I want to build off of Randy's comments in 3 specific areas. What I personally think is the opportunity for ULI members in this global evolution, and I'll be focusing mostly on the Americas. What this means to you as an America's member now, and then what's happened since San Francisco to advance these efforts. Okay, so let's just start with how I define this opportunity. This initiative is part aspirational and part a safeguard. It is very clear, I think, to everyone in leadership that we need to get closer to our members, and there's a reason why. 15 years ago, we had one portal entry, basically, into the ULI network, and that was the product councils. One business line has now morphed into multiple business lines, either through our content initiatives, robustly our district councils, our expansion in EMEA and Asia. And so now we have a larger organization at both ends of the structure, and we also have a very different profile of a member base within the district councils. So it is clear, I think, that in any kind of growth, when you grow that rapidly and technology changes that quickly, you end up with a structure that needs to evolve to it. So what this is about aspirationally is creating the next version, the 3.0 version of ULI. But what we're also trying to do is do it in a way that safeguards the brand, essentially by creating a safety net to ensure that ULI is the go-to organization, as Randy said, when we hit the next rough time. And we will do that at some point. So as I said, I'm speaking today as chair of the Americas, but I think chair of EMEA and I think chair of Asia would be saying exactly the same thing. This initiative is to put us closer to our members in each region based on the benefits and needs of those members. We need to effectively adapt our programs for the members in those areas to match the resources and opportunities. That could be district councils, it could be all of Canada. To do this, I think we need 5 things. We need to be more diverse, we need to be more inclusive, more interesting, more empowering, and then I'm going to use a word Randy used, more engaging with our members. If we can do this, we can become impactful. So if you take anything away from this first section on the opportunity, it's I fully believe in the global nature of the capital markets, best practices in design, land use, built environment, but it comes down to the local delivery of the real estate product. And so it is by addressing both the global nature and then the local nature that we have the ability for you now as a member to opt in to the level that you want to participate. Okay, that sounds great. So what does that mean? Well, I think Randy described that we are starting to put the pieces together. In the board meeting yesterday, one of our board members suggested that we were putting this foundation in place. And that is what we're doing from a governance perspective so that then the execution can grow from there. Let's talk about specific things. So ULI Americas will be responsible for its own program of work, its own delivery model, its own business plan. EMEA is already doing that. There will be an executive committee that will be named that will work with the CEO to help do that. Trustee allocation has been increased to represent the size of the ULI Americas region. The meeting in Dallas leadership will be run by the ULI trustees in this region. We're going to call it an advisory board. You'll hear more about that. But it's essentially the ULI trustees from the Americas. And then you have actually started to see this already when you saw the phenomenal programming in San Francisco and here in Philadelphia. Those were generated by our district council members. That is a perfect example of moving the content to the place where the activity is happening. Other things you'll see is a greater focus on content exchange, not vertical, not just up and down, but horizontal, peer-to-peer, between the networks, between district and product councils. I think we're going to start to really look hard at our trustee engagement and our former trustee engagement. We have 200 alumni trustee, and in our new trustee structure, we could have as many as 25, an increase of 25 every year. That is a robust group of talent that we need to engage more holistically in the organization. We also need better improved member connectivity. We heard a lot even over the last 2 days that so many people want to volunteer and they don't know how. And so we must engage all businesses at the local level, and we need to find a way for those best practices to be shared. Maybe consider meeting regionally in a grander way, and then very dear to me, I don't believe young leaders is just a category. I think it's a call to engagement. It's the thought leadership of the next generation. So when we make this promise, if you as a young leader want to be involved in the advisory service panels or TAPs or the governance structure of your councils, there's got to be a way for you to opt into that. The 2 other things I think you'll start to see, greater diversity. We need to make meaningful inroads, not just to age, gender, and ethnicity. But as an industry, we don't have everybody at the table. And the district councils are a perfect way to get the public sector, private equity firms, non-real estate corporations involved. And then the last thing I want to talk briefly about is civic philanthropy. In the last 45 days, I've gotten emails from Charlotte Ron Kimball did a advisory service panel on density in the suburbs. Alex Rowe sent one that, an advisory service panel that Richard Perlmutter ran that brought an engagement officer to Manhattan Beach to talk about the tax loads of the residential real estate in Manhattan Beach. And then Randy and I just both got an email from Greg Hummel and Rick Pizer over working with university students on a large land-use area in Chicago. Great things are happening. How we replicate, duplicate, and do that on a sustainable basis in each region is what this is about. That's the aspirational part. The reality is that the governance has to be in place to do that. So I'm here today to talk about the foundation being set and to ask for your patience. As you can see up on the screen, we have actually had a phenomenal group of people agree to serve on the first executive committee of ULI of the Americas. I am delighted that they have agreed to serve. They are leaders within their areas, within their businesses, within their communities. Their term starts July 1st, and they are already actively engaged. It is impressive. And they will perform the function that an executive committee, exactly like EMEA is doing, is working on the budgets, advising the CEO, coming up with the program of work, looking at the delivery system, just exactly what you would expect an advisory committee to do. They're in place, they'll begin July 1st. As Randy mentioned, we have been working with a search firm. I want to thank Brett for his involvement. Brett, Patrick, and I have had hours of meetings. We have narrowed the search field down to 3 amazing candidates, any of whom I'd be so delighted to work with, all quite different. But what they have in common is the core competencies that we all believe ULI needs right now. They're CEOs of some company, private or public, that know how to run things, that know how real estate works, and they are mission-driven and want to help us execute this plan. This will all be in place by fiscal year 16-17, July 1st. And it needs to be put in place so that we can actually maximize the leverage that we are beginning to create by all the members. Randy discusses this as evolution, and if I could leave with one line, I like this evolution. This was a member-run organization that when Jeremy, Harry, Bob Larson looked at, said it needed to be a staff-run organization, and it did become that with a member-supported aspect. We are now moving to staff-run, member-shaped, and to do this, we need your involvement. So on the screen is a website. It says we want your comments. We actually really do want your comments. I tell everybody that you'll see changes in a year, but it'll take 2 years for this to be fully in place. But I think it is the opportunity that we as ULI members today have the responsibility to do to move it forward for ULI members of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we leave the stage, I want to switch gears. We have an exciting announcement. Each year at the spring meeting, we celebrate the winner of the ULI APGAR Urban Land Award. The award was started in the 1990s by my friend and longtime ULI member, Sandy APGAR. In fact, he was chairman of my first product council, to recognize the high quality of writing that we all enjoy from ULI's flagship publication, the Urban Land magazine. It's my pleasure to tell you that this year's winner is journalist Patrick Kiger, who, is that fair? Is that right? Who was chosen for the article, Imagining the Driverless City. The article exemplifies what makes Urban Land a must-read publication for all of us. Patrick adeptly tackled a complex issue of great importance to real estate professionals worldwide, that being the intersection of technology and urban development. The article appeared in the September-October 2015 issue. If you missed it, I encourage you to go to the Urban Land online and read it. Patrick is a regular Urban Land contributor, and his hard work on this piece is certainly worthy of recognition with the honoring, the giving of the APGAR Award. Patrick, please stand. Where are you? Congratulations. We are very pleased that you are improving all of our knowledge about important issues. And now moving forward to a close, you've heard this morning pieces of what are going on in terms of the global evolution. I want to emphasize you've heard pieces as we put the platform in place. We really do need help. We need your involvement as leaders. We need your involvement as contributors of ideas, even if the ideas are that we don't have it quite right. And going forward, I hope you will engage both Tricia and me on these issues. And now we're fortunate to move forward with the capital markets session.